80% of the real estate leads that are being generated by my YouTube channel and all the other channels that we manage come from one type of video. This is a video that a lot of agents have slept on, maybe. And what's interesting is that maybe you've already seen it. Maybe you've already seen the video in several channels where there's top producers that are crushing it, and you see the videos and you gloss over them because for the most part, they're not getting the most views, right? So what gets the views is the housing market is crashing, the real estate market is collapsing. That's what gets the views, but ultimately that's not what gets the GCI, the commissions coming in. So what I'm going to show you today is how we're making this happen for our real estate team, real estate agents, and everybody in between. So 80% of my leads are coming from one type of video. So it's not listings, it's not market updates, it's not vlogs, it's not any of that. It's not even the property tours. It's just one repeatable format that every agent on the face of this planet can do, but most agents tend to ignore. Why? Well, because it's not that glamorous. Why? Well, because it might involve doing a little bit of research. It might involve going a little bit beyond the surface level and providing something a bit more substantial that the audience absolutely needs and is asking for, but we as agents tend to overlook for whatever reason. So let's look at that one type of video that's absolutely crushing it right now. So you get to see how you can actually replicate it in your business. And the video that, of course, is the local city video. When you talk about the area that you work, you are essentially making the global platform that is YouTube and really work for you in your local market. So this is how we take the YouTube universality. So universality, is that a word? And make it local to our market, the market that we happen to work. So this is where you provide that local guide knowledge, that local guide feel, that local guide information that only you can provide. So here you're talking about covering cost of living, the neighborhoods, the schools, and what it's actually like to live there and move there if they're relocating from other cities. Now, when I put guided tour here, I put it very specifically. I'm not suggesting that it has to be a you out in location, you with the GoPro, you with the DJI, if I have it somewhere, or you with the camera, just recording yourself walking around. So this guided tour can manifest itself in several different ways. The guided tour can manifest itself digitally. So where you're speaking about, very similar in this setting, speaking about the area that you happen to work in, whether that's Sarasota, whether that's Orlando, whether that's Oklahoma City, and adding visuals, adding B-rolls. You could also do map tours. Those tend to do incredibly well to give people an idea of what it actually feels and looks like to work in that, or live, work, play in that area, right? In the market that you happen to be in. So this guided tour can manifest itself in so many different ways. It could be talking head like this. It could be on location if you so choose. It could be storytelling. It could be various different ways. But the important here is that you're making content that will actually drive you business, that will actually bring you results. And the local city video is exactly the one that happens to do that. So everything you need to know about Las Vegas, what people are missing about Las Vegas. Don't move to Las Vegas until you watch this. That type of video is what we're referencing here, where you're covering what people need to know about a specific area and region. Now, why does this work? Why do local cities videos work all together? And I'm going to show you also how to construct this video. It doesn't take a lot of time to do, and it's so easy. So why this is actually working for all the channels that we place our videos in. So number one is going to bring hyper local authority. So this is a video that makes you the authority in this space. You're the one that's introducing them to Scottsdale for the very first time. You're the one that's informing them of what the real estate in Scottsdale actually is like. It's going to drive organic traffic for months into years into the future. So there's videos that I've made in 2018 that are still getting views, that are still getting calls to actions, that are still calling us because they saw that video. That's the power of YouTube, and that's something that you get to leverage over and over and over again with every video that you make. Now, what's pretty cool here is that YouTube allows you to improve in your search engine optimization, so SEO. Your video is going to be found on Google for sure, but it's also going to be found as a result of going over at Google and searching. right? So YouTube, that's where it's housed and people are searching and then they find your video. But when people are searching on Google, YouTube gets preferential treatment. So there, people that will find your video at that point, then they start reaching out. That's pretty cool. And beyond that, now what you're starting to see is what's called AEO, so AI engine optimization. There, you're now seeing your videos populate. Now you're seeing people reference, or the large language models referencing your videos. So that's how you're starting to get the outreach. That's incredible. That's the power of SEO and AEO working for you by you creating one YouTube video. You get to repeat that, rinse and repeat for every market, every city that you cover. So if you work in an area where there's multiple cities in the market that you happen to work, like here in Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, you make the video about Fort Worth, about Arlington, about Euless, about Keller, about Southlake, about all the areas that you happen to work. That's you duplicating yourself over and over and over again. Now, the anatomy of the city video. This doesn't take that long. So I want to give you a very simple framework that you can follow. You're going to have the hook. So essentially you're introducing people into the video. The second thing is going to be the cost of living there, the cost and lifestyle. So you're going to get into real numbers, get into the real meat and bones of somebody that is considering moving to that area or just moving from the area to another neighborhood, right? So you're giving real numbers. What does it cost to live there? What are the property taxes like? What's real estate like? What's life actually going to cost you if you happen to move to Scottsdale, since we referenced it? Because we know if you're at least in the, I think it's called the Valley, right? If you know that if you live in the Phoenix and around there, there's a wildly different cost associated to living in Scottsdale versus, I don't know, Glendale, right? So the expenses are radically different. You're the one that gets to present that information. Neighborhood tour. So this is where you're sharing the areas. You're showing the streets, the schools, the vibe. And once again, while you can go out and do the GoPro, that's something I've done in the past, you don't have to. You can put representations of what you're talking about through stock footage that actually exists already. And the important thing here is that you're providing an honest take, an honest feel, the pros and cons of what's actually happening. That's how you're going to build trust. That's how you're going to provide meaningful information that somebody can actually use and ultimately reach out to you because they trust you. If you just go into the mindset of, I'm going to say everything is perfect, and then they're going to come and buy, guess what? Nobody's going to reach out. If you go into the other opposite, it's like everything sucks about this city and I can't believe I live here, then you're also not going to get that outreach. The important thing here is that you're providing an actual authentic point of view. If there's some things that you don't like about the city, share those. That's okay. You're not bashing the city. You're just sharing your perspective. There's things that you appreciate about the city and that you like, the reason that you've moved there, share that. That's absolutely why they're watching that video. So you're going to find that the extremes aren't going to work, but somewhere in the middle tends to be the sweet spot, just like with most things in life, right? And then the invitation, that's the call to action, right? So if you're thinking about moving, if you're thinking about taking that next step, I am here. I'd love to support you. It's this simple, right? So this is a very simple framework that you can follow. It's a simple 5-step framework that doesn't involve a lot of time invested in, getting this right. I know that you can get a hook, essentially keeping somebody's attention or bringing somebody along for the video. Provide the cost and lifestyle, give a little bit of perspective about the neighborhoods, give your honest take on the situation, on the home or the neighborhood, and then the invitation to connect. It's that simple. The important thing here is that you're making a local city video because that's going to be the big driver of your real estate leads altogether. So if you don't have a local city video in your library, I encourage you to create one this week. You're going to start seeing a radical change in the amount of people that actually reach out to you as a result of YouTube. See you on the next one.